Welcome to the Dad Report, a podcast for dads, by dads, about dad stuff.
Join us as we sit down and have meaningful conversations with friends, family, and coworkers.
We will talk about life, family, and so much more while working towards a goal of creating a healthy idea of what it means to be a dad. All right, and we're back on the Dad Report. Another one.
Hey, Justin.
Chad, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I don't know. I feel like it's been a marathon the last couple of weeks, but I don't know why. Here I am.
Because that's life in America in the summer is marathons. My wife and I feel like did one just recently. We did two weddings, one in Jacksonville, one in Athens, Georgia, all in the same weekend. Drove down Thursday night. Wedding Friday night, drove back up Saturday to make the wedding Saturday night, and then I worked this Sunday morning. So it was awesome.
Oh yeah, thanks for stopping in and saying hi. I appreciate that.
Okay, we can talk about that later. All right, well, tonight we do have a special guest who does also hail from Jacksonville. In fact, if you dig back deep in the recesses of your memory, remember one of our guests from season 1, Caitlin Burley. She was a middle school science teacher. She's a new mom. Right. She is super fun, very wise. Well, as most wives do, and as good wives do, she has voluntold her husband to come onto the Dad Report. So please welcome Kevin to the show.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to be here.
Thanks for being with us. Kevin, tell us, why did you let her volunteer you onto our show?
I guess
say yes.
Habit, really. Just habit.
Okay. That's good.
I mean, is that kind of a dad thing? I mean, I know I've been voluntold to do stuff, and sometimes you just got to roll with it, you know. And
I think, yeah, if you're trying to maintain a happy life, also, like, what else do I got? I mean, I don't. It's like I got
True.
10 other podcasts asking me to do something.
You might. We don't know.
I mean, I could, I guess.
You could. All right. So, Kevin, go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, maybe your version of how you met your wife. And just tell us what's going on.
Do you know how I met Katie? Do you know?
I know you guys both worked at Mandarin for a while, but I don't know if that's the full story. And I can't remember, honestly, if Katie shared it with us in season 1 because we got so deep into the education talk.
It's mostly the story. So when can I say the name of the school? Can we do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't see why not.
Okay. So when DCSM first opened, I was literally just driving around and I saw that they were, there was a big sign on the building when it wasn't even painted at the time. And it said apply now. And it was meaning for students to apply now, but I was like, well, maybe they need teachers. So I went online and I applied. I got the job the inaugural year of DCSM as their art teacher. And fast forward, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years later, a sub comes walking in and I'm in a class. And if you're familiar with the art room at DCSM,
well, downstairs or upstairs, because they have the elementary.
We didn't have anybody upstairs at the time. That was, they put books there because we only went to 6th grade first year.
Gotcha.
So downstairs, I'll describe it to the listeners, is we have an entryway. We have a little retaining area, a second set of doors, the office and a hallway, and then directly to the left is the art room, and it's got these big windows that look out both to the little retention area for people to be let into the building and the office. So apparently they were doing new hires or interviews.
Okay.
And I noticed this little nerd walking in, and I was like, well, look at that, and from there on, I chased Katie and we got married. There we go.
You go.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
And for those that don't know the lingo, DCSM is Duval Charter School Mandarin, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And so that is where, Justin, that's how you made the connection with Burley. And
correct.
There we are, full circle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, Kevin, what do you do? Because you weren't teaching art when I was there. So what are you doing currently? What you been up to?
I left being an art teacher and I do graphic arts for a technical pub and courseware development company. So I'm in a way I'm still in education, I suppose, and in a
Okay.
way I'm still in art. So
Okay.
that's what we do. We do interactive courseware. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what it is. People
Similar
say like
to iReady, that kind of interactive courseware.
it's geared towards adults and um, like maintenance for aircraft. So
Oh,
it's not as fun.
Wow.
I wish
yeah.
because I'm a compulsive doodler, and then I could actually draw like something fun. I don't. I draw schematics
Right.
basically.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
plug myself back in.
Oh, you're all good.
So when you started talking, where my mind went immediately, just because this is what I've been doing lately, is courses, that you're required to take, like here's what phishing is, here's how to avoid sexual harassment,
It's
all
a
those
lot
like
closer to the avoid sexual harassment courses than fishing courses. It has
Oh yeah.
it has the kind of the same level of dryness and
Oh, great.
not necessarily dryness, but yeah, canned. How do I say it without being insulting to what I do?
Go ahead.
It's just just think of those online training courses that you
Yeah.
have to take that is like mandatory. They're like, hey, get this done by the 25th because HR is going to be upset otherwise.
Yep.
That's I help make those things. I'm one of the cogs in that giant wheel.
Well, do you enjoy being the cog in that wheel, or
Oh yeah, it's a
like
great
the
yeah,
transition?
it's great. It's great. What I miss about teaching was the adventure.
Okay.
What I don't miss about teaching was the hassle. There was a lot of
lots of red tape.
lots of red. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Again, how do I say it without being insulting?
Go for it.
I don't miss all the extra stuff they would have to do.
Yeah.
As a teacher and as an art teacher, I try to be very like important, if that makes sense. Like I
Mhm.
wanted to do a lot of cross curricular.
Curriculum.
I wanted to go. There you go. Thank you.
It's too
I
late
wanted
for
to do a
that
lot
word,
of that. Yeah. I wanted to do a lot of that and just be valued. So I put a lot of effort into it. And I was, but here's the thing about being an art teacher is it's a great place to end your career and just ride it out for the next 10, 15 years as you retire. Starting off, it's not the best place to start as an art teacher.
Okay.
Yeah. As an art teacher for art specifically.
Okay. Would you teach any other subjects if you were given the opportunity?
I don't think I'm qualified to teach any other subjects. So.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. So now your job, does that allow you to work from home or do you have to go into the office? Is it kind of like a hybrid model?
We do hybrid stuff, but honestly, I like the office. I like to come in and interact. A lot of the stuff, especially when designing courseware, if somebody who's not an artist will put in an art request and, it's vague or unclear or, and it's better to kind of have that one-on-one face-to-face conversation. So I like the office. I'm not a big fan of working from home. I get distracted at home so easily.
Now, do you work with other like creative type people, other artists, or like what? I'm just curious because like, man, what I do, I work in IT, and when they were talking about bringing people back in the office, they asked to see who wanted to come. And I kind of virtually raised my hand to come back in, and I was literally the only one in my entire team that wanted to come back to the office. So here I am, still at home. So
yeah, well, I mean, some people thrive at home. It's just what you want. I personally just get so distracted. I do work with. I'm on a graphics team. We're a small team. I worked for a company that had a big team for what we were doing, but the team I'm on now is only 5 people. So it's what's great about a small team is you get to do a lot of stuff.
Okay.
A big team, they kind of a big team, you get like a razor focus on something or a laser focus on something. You're working on one thing and that's all you do.
Yeah.
Small team, you're a jack of all trades. It's more fun. You get to mess around.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of miss that. Working for that, small company, getting to wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's
it's
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin? Do you although I don't know that in what you do that you can really work remotely. Do you ever get that opportunity?
On facilities? No.
Are you still doing
Kill away.
facilities?
I start the student pastor role in July, which for those of you listening, this has already passed and I will be in that role now. But yeah, so I haven't started quite yet. But we did talk about that in my interviews. We brought up flexibility. There'll be some work from home. Honestly, I mean, you can write a sermon anywhere. Emails can be handled just about anywhere. I think the office, personally, from past ministry experience, I think the office is just there so you have a space where if you need to unplug distractions, like what Kevin was saying, where he gets at home. Because if I was at home, yeah, I'd be like, I can squeeze in 30 minutes of Call of Duty, like I can do that, and you do it on
Or the laundry or something like
yeah,
that.
or laundry, help the wife around the house or fix a door or whatever. So I think the office helps sometimes for safe meeting spaces. If you need to be counseling somebody, bring in their pastor or staff, etc. But I think some of it's also just like, here's 4 corners and a door, so you can put your head to the keyboard really, and knock out a lot of what you're doing.
But y'all both have young kids. I mean, it's off. Like you never know what you're gonna get.
Door's not
Mine are older, so I can put the fear of God in them. Hey, don't you come in here for the next hour and a half. I'm going to be on the phone,
Right. No, I can't do that. My child probably, I don't know what she'd do actually, probably laugh at me. Well, you did just give that away. Oh, Chad, I think you froze.
I kicked something underneath my desk, and I was moving my head, and y'all were both frozen, and I'm like, oh, sweet. So yeah, I lost my internet for about 60 seconds there, I guess.
I think I might leave that bit right there, and just where Chad admits that he kicked something under his desk.
Hey, let's do it.
That's awesome.
I've done many more embarrassing things. So
can you mix it in with like a nice 80s like record scratch? Like I kicked.
Oh, I might be able to do that.
Justin.
I could definitely get it to repeat the record scratch. Yeah, I'll play with it. If I can bleep his wife, and I know how to change, like I can make it like a robot too. So I'll play with it. Gosh, where were you? All right. So Chad had asked us about working from home. Oh, that's right. So Chad, I was gonna say you actually gave away. So Kevin, had we introduced you, Kevin, yet as being a dad?
I should hope so. Well, I don't think so, but
I don't think we had gotten there yet. So that's right. You are here. We have more people than just dads on the Dad Report. But you are a dad, so Kevin, actually go ahead and share with us kind of your story, the story, however you want to, the story of you becoming a father, not we know how the
everybody got that part.
Got that part down. But it's kind of, I don't know, how's it been going? I guess.
We're closing in on that first year. It's good. It's an adventure. It's crazy. It's all those things. It's frightening. It's awesome. It's what else can you say? It's everything.
Yeah.
Who I appreciate now? My dad.
Yeah,
I started appreciating my dad years ago, but I really appreciate my dad now.
Believe it.
So yeah, it's great. I'm closing in on that first year, and I don't know, the last few months he's a person. He was always a person, obviously, but when there's that weird little switch that flips, and all of a sudden you lock
personality.
eyes, and yeah, and they get you in a weird way. They laugh at you. They understand you're a goof, and they laugh and they smile and they cry. Yeah, that little bit of cognizance that starts shining through is amazing.
Yeah. Now you guys have a son, and his name is Oliver, correct?
That's correct. Yep, little Ollie.
Now Amelia in our house is more of a mama fan than she is a me fan. She gets really clingy and she prefers to be a mama. So Oliver or Ollie, which parent, if you guys had to say he's got a favorite?
That depends on who you ask. If you ask Katie, she's going to say he loves his daddy. But a boy's got to have his mom.
That's true.
He cuddles up, So I think that he likes mommy, but mommy will say that he likes daddy. So I think he's playing us, really. That's what he's doing.
He's learned it already. There you go. He's figured it out.
Yeah.
If you're out there listening, you did not play your parents against each other, you're lying. We've all tried it. We've all tried it once, and it just had different results.
Well, and
So
some of that comes with age and like, if and when you have additional kids,
mm,
like I know with so mine are 16 and 10 and my
So
oldest
your
son.
kids are big kids then.
Yeah. Yeah, so my Pierce, my oldest, he just graduated high school, and so he was an only child for like the first like almost exactly 6 years. So and I would say, he kind of had run of the house during that time, right? But when he had a brother and their personalities were really, kind of really developing, we really started to see, oh, he really is just much more like his mom. Very, cut and dry. Whereas his brother has more emotions, whatever.
Yeah, wears his
And
heart on his sleeve,
yeah,
probably.
exactly. And that's much more like me. Like we'll have situations where it's just like we know which one of us can handle the situation because of the kid and just
Yeah,
who who
whose
they
whose strength they can play to.
yeah, exactly. So, if you were to ask me, who do you love more? Like, I love them equally the same. It is in different ways though, because there's one I just kind of, I get on a different level with. And so, I never would have understood that. I always thought parents were like, you like one more, just go with it. But it's just that they're different.
Yeah, and people are
Yeah.
multifaceted. You can't just be. I can't imagine that Ali is going to be, I don't know, just like me in every way. And I'll be like, son, boy, it's looking in the mirror and you never let
Right.
me down. You know what I mean?
Right.
right.
Let me ask you this, because something I'm weirded about in the future is when they go off, because your son, Chad, is getting out of high school. What's next? How do you feel about what's next? That's
Ooh.
crazy. It's so
Yeah.
far. I was a disaster in
Yes.
when I graduated from high school, an absolute disaster.
Yeah, so we're recording this in June. And so we just recently had graduation, which was awesome. He's got he's got all these plans, right? He's working, all this kind of stuff. But I just gotta tell, and I knew I was actually coaching Shauna, my wife. I'm like, okay, here's what's gonna happen, right? He's transitioning. We gotta give him some space. Here's some of the things to look out for. Like I had all of the head knowledge, but this stuff just starts happening, and I'm like, my kid is treating this house like a hotel. Like, he's at work, and then he's doing this thing, then he's doing this thing, and I'm like, and just all of the transitions that are happening, and he's just growing up, and I'm like, I know every parent's like, "I'm not ready for this," but I was like, "I did everything I could to be ready, and I'm not ready." So,
Yeah.
yeah, it is crazy. So, yeah, so I'll tell you what he's doing. He's working for like a contractor right now, like construction contractor, doing wide range of stuff. He went from working 0 hours a week to he's doing like, 30, 32, in that he's working like 4 days a week right now. And so that's been a whole thing where he's really learning like what free time is.
Yeah.
Um you know,
or what it isn't.
or what it isn't, yes. And he's growing up. uh he's kind of in that awkward place because, so for example, at church, so you guys are in Jacksonville, so we go to 1122, and he's in their student ministry. And but like now he's like, wait a minute, like I'm graduated from high school and I'm moving on from this, and just kind of trying to figure out where he's at, 'cause he's kind of in between in some
Yeah,
in
because
some areas,
yeah, when you get out of high school, everything ends in a way. Everything you're familiar with ends, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have to make all these big decisions that, first of all, everybody always tells you when you're 16 that these are like the most important decisions of your life, and in some ways they are, but in some ways they aren't. It really depends on like what you do with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like when you're that age, it's everybody's like, oh, you have to decide, like, are you going to work for a living? Are you going to go to college? Are you going to become a criminal? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And you know, it's a weird time. It's a tough decision. Like I said, I was a wreck. So I'm interested in hearing like what am I gonna have to deal with when Ollie gets to be that age? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I think the thing is you just got to let them do what they're going to do, because no matter what you say, you're dumb and they're not going to listen, or they're, they know what's best.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys can both relate to this too, but I have memories of being that age. And like you say, like, okay, everyone's telling me I'm making these decisions that are going to affect the rest of my life. But at the same time, like, I'm not really being given the responsibility. Like, I feel like I'm on a leash, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
because you're too dumb to make really solid decisions. So people put you in these bumper, the bumper lane,
yeah.
and you just bounce around until you smash into the pins and see where you end up.
Yeah, our philosophy of parenting with him, and I feel like it's worked pretty well up to this point, is if he's gonna fail, we would much prefer that he fails at home, where he's got people that love him and he can kind of bounce back from it and that kind of thing. And so we try to give him as much freedom and space as makes sense, right? But kind of giving him a little bit of extra, I don't know what else to say, a little bit of extra leash, just to be able to go and and experiment and try things. So he's we kind of told him, we're like, hey, you're not going to sit around the house all summer. You're out of school. You need to get a job, or you need to be doing something. So he went, got a job, and it's been great. He's learning a lot. Especially he's learning about, okay, I can't just take off every Thursday because there's a thing I want to do, right? They're expecting me to be there, and so I have to set my priorities straight, and that kind of thing. And so yeah, I feel like, and it's probably not that bad, honestly. I told you I wear my emotion on my sleeve, but I feel like I am constantly trying to remain like in his life. Like
Yeah.
he's got plans and he's going places, and he's a busy kid, and I
dad
just
is way at the bottom because he's a
yeah,
man now.
oh man, and it's like I tell Shauna all the time, I'm like, he's not doing anything wrong, but like this is hard. Just, and it's great. It's so rewarding. Like, it's awesome to see your kid, in his, cap and gown and getting his diploma and all this kind of like, that was an amazing experience to go through. It was great. And I love what he's doing now. I mean, he's just running after his future. And he's going after it. But at the same time, it's like, when he's doing that, I'm having to like let go, right? Let go, and it's the way it's designed to be, right? He's not going to live under my roof forever. He's got to get out there, but it's it's a little harder than I thought it would be. And I know every parent says it's hard, and our parents say that, and we roll our eyes, and it's like, no, but it's gonna be different. And it's no different.
And we're all the same. We just
no, it's like I said, it's super rewarding, but it's hard. And I feel like the emotions and the experiences are no different. I just feel like they're more intense for some reason. It's just like, oh man, he's going, and some days it's super awesome. Some days it's tough. Because like I said, and we there's different transitions that kids go through, but right now we're in that transition of, he's like, wait a minute. So I'm out of high school, and he graduated 16. So he's young. On top of that.
He's
and so
he's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. But it's just, he's kind of in a weird place, and we're just trying as best we can to help him get through it. And it's been really good, but there are some hard spots, but I feel like the one thing we do that keeps us in a good place is we just have very open communication, and it becomes very obvious when we're kind of slacking there. And because everybody's assuming different stuff, but when we have open communication, he knows what we expect of him, and we're helping him to plan and do his calendar and all that kind of stuff. And he's treating Shauna's car like it's his own. It's that whole thing. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but I go back to when I was a teenager. I was like, so that's how mom felt, huh?
Yeah. I can only imagine.
So yeah, it's great. It's tough. It's all those things.
When I was teaching, one day I called my dad up, and I was complaining. I was like, oh, these kids, they don't, I was just complaining about kids being kids, sixth graders. And my dad, he stops me and he's like, Kevin, I don't know if you remember what you got into in sixth grade and how many phone calls we got and how much, discussions with the principal and meetings and all this stuff about you. And I was like, well, maybe I should just shut up and understand, like, these kids they're just sixth graders, and maybe I should appreciate that they didn't invent any of the stuff I did, and just not complain.
It's nothing new.
Right.
It's Chad's Socrates quote from forever ago.
I
forget what the exact quote is, but essentially it's children have always been, they've always been that way. So
yeah,
that is funny. It is, I would say, yeah, teaching for me at least was definitely a humbling experience in some ways. So I was always the rule follower in school, so I also struggled with teaching because I was like, come on, guys, just follow the freaking rules.
Yeah, it's like, don't you understand?
That hard.
These are set up for your benefit.
It's for your safety. Like, come on. Do not talk during a lockdown drill. So hard about that.
You're giving I was the opposite. I was a horrible, horrible student. It was also funny when I got the job being a teacher, because my dad was like, you? Huh. It's weird. I was like, yeah.
Hey, if it was just meet your wife, then God is good. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Well, Kevin, talk to us, man. So you've got an almost 1-year-old. So part of being a dad means you come with dad jokes. So before we get any further down this conversation, you told us you came prepared.
I got 2 dad jokes.
And we're here for it. We love this.
All right. Dad joke number 1 is, why did a zombie do so good in school?
Something with brains. It's something with brains.
He had all the brains.
He had all the brains. Yes.
That's good.
That's awesome.
All right. The second dad joke is one that is all about timing. You can instigate this joke, but it's better if you just wait. If you keep it in your brain and you just wait and let it simmer, and then just wait for a conversation and just throw it out there.
Okay.
All right. So all you have to do is wait for people to start making scatological talk. And when they say something, you go, diarrhea is hereditary. And they'll go, what? Really? And you just say, yeah, it runs in your genes. But, and this part of the joke is not a joke. I held on to that joke for a year and a half, just
before
waiting,
using it,
waiting. And it was just fermenting before I could throw it out. And it's just all about timing. It's not a great joke, but that's why you got to sit on it and just wait.
Sit on it. It runs in your genes. Oh my gosh. That's funny. Oh, it's like what is about the toilet paper? Brown it on one side. Or how did the kid cook toilet paper? You brown it on one side.
I don't know that one. Give me that one?
Oh,
I like that one.
I forget what it is now. Chad had it, so I forget which episode. If you go back, oh gosh, might have been, was it Nolan's episode? I think it was Nolan's episode. So if you go back and find the episode with Nolan Laverne, Chad.
So let me give you a little context.
Here we go.
Joke, though. So we're at so my kids are in the Scouts, right? And so Jude, my younger, when he's 10, he just kind of graduated up to Boy Scouts, but he was in Cub Scouts. So we were at a camp out or something.
Yeah, I was a Weeblo. P.S.
Okay. Yes, nice.
I got my arrow of light. Yeah, it's no big deal. Whatever.
Good for you. And we're standing around and people are telling jokes, and this kid just busted out. And it's the kind of joke where the parents are like, I cannot believe he just told that. That was supposed to be for our ears only. But and it came from the dad because he was like fist pumping. But it was like, how do you cook toilet paper? Brown it on one side.
Oh, nice.
So
That's gonna be another one I'm gonna have to save.
It's such a good joke. It's such a
Good
good
joke.
one. Oh man.
so good.
Yeah, that one's a classic.
So speaking of which,
Speaking of
you know,
poop,
the guy who created the throat lozenge just recently died.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, and they announced that there will be no coffin at the funeral.
Ah,
that's horrible.
Oh, sorry.
Wow. Okay. Well. Oh,
Sometimes you hear a good dad joke and it's just like, now I gotta tell one.
that's good. I don't have any right now. I got nothing in the pocket. I need to get my dad
Trying to-
joke book back out.
Just wait.
trying to
when
work in
your-
some puns to go along so we
I
can riff
know.
off those jokes.
I'm
when
usually
your
a pun
daughter
guy.
when your daughter, Justin, when she is old enough to be embarrassed by you in front of her friends, you will just have them.
It'll just come
flowing.
out of me. There we go.
Yes.
I feel like we're still talking about diarrhea here.
Yeah. Those puns just keep coming, don't they?
They do. Yeah, I can't wait to embarrass her in front of her friends when she's like, "I'm hungry. Hi, hungry. I'm dad." Like that's
Classic.
those are my favorites. My dad used to do that us all the time.
That's a classic
So-
one.
Oh man, so good. Well, Kevin, talk to us. You got an almost 1-year-old Oliver. He's awesome. You asked Chad about 16-year-old eventual Oliver, but let's backtrack to almost 1-year-old Oliver. What have been some of the things that you've learned in the first year of being a dad? Whether it's something you learned about being a husband to Katie, or about being a dad to Oliver, or even just kind of inside yourself where you're like, wow, I know for me, like one of the things that like I learned very quickly on was like, wow, I'm a really selfish human being. And Amelia was kind of the mirror that was like, hi, you are. So
well, I guess one of the things is I'm older than Katie. So one thing that I always want to be cognizant about is just that I am older and I don't want to miss stuff. I try to make myself available to spend time with Ollie anytime. And Katie is an active mom.
very,
she's just an active person in general. Katie always wants to be hanging out with people and doing stuff. She's a go-getter. Right? It's one of the things I like about her. And as a mom, because we decided she was going to stay at home, and we had to have the conversation, like, are we going to stay at home? What sacrifice each of us are going to make for this? It's a pros and cons kind of thing, right? But since she's staying at home, there's a lot of stuff you miss out on, especially if you're somebody who is used to, as a teacher, she was used to excitement all day long. Being a teacher is exciting. Nothing ever stops. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like there's something going on all the time. And as a teacher, you're looking for those moments where nothing's going on so you can decompress.
Yeah.
Right. But, Katie loves that. She's she feeds off of energy. So being at home, there's not that energy. So it's important to get her out and let her do her thing. You know what I mean? But I could look at it in a way where I could be like, why am I stuck with the baby? But I'm not. This is my chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is my opportunity to throw him upside down, hold him, and swing him around in circles, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Because I'm not going to get it back. You're never going to get it back. So I don't know. I just try to be with him anytime I can and not be, so what if he's crying? He's going to cry. He's a baby. What if I got to change a poop? That's, get used to it. I'll be changing his poop in one way or another for the rest of my life. So might as well
changing yours.
Right. That's right back to the depends joke. Full circle. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's my takeaway. It's just that, I have to make myself available as much as I can, because I'm not going to get it back, and he's only going to be little once.
Yeah. That's a really healthy outset. I like that you're already there. I think some parents, I don't want to say all, definitely not all, but there's you hear the stories of the ones who have a child instantly or missing out on their previous life where they had all the free time to go party.
Those are young dudes. Those are young dudes.
I am a young dude. Those are my
oh,
peers.
okay.
but I think like you, like Megan So Megan's always at home with Amelia. She works from home, so she's always home with her. But I do look forward to coming in the door and like Amelia seeing me. And then like whenever Megan's like, I need to get out of this house, like I kick her out. I'm like, go to Target. I got her.
Yeah, let her go.
And then or if she's like, hey, I want to go serve in student Sunday nights. I'm like, yeah, it's called Amelia Daddy Date Night. Like we were watching Big Hero 6 on Father's Day. My wife was helping her in-laws move closer to us. And Amelia's, she's got that attention span now where she can like, there's enough action on the screen where she's like glued. And we chilled and watched a movie. Like, and I guess similar to you, like I look forward to those, even though it's not always easy. You got the poopy diaper where she screams through the whole thing. And you're like, just let me change you. You'll feel better once it's done.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
Well, there's this another weird flip where all of a sudden they're just dealing with diaper, and then all of a sudden they don't want you to change that diaper. I'm like, yeah, you don't understand what you're putting me through here.
You're killing me. I hate it most when she does it like right. I think she waits till Mama's in the room and then she's like lets it out while I'm changing. I'm like, you never do this. Like, you come on. I know what I'm doing. Kind of. I'm
trying
slow.
to make you look bad.
I'm definitely slower than Mama is, but come on now. But yeah, that's a great outset because you're right. We don't get. For me, I almost like crave. Like I'm excited for that time because I know I don't get like because unfortunately my current job, even though I know I'm transitioning and people on the show are like, what? Because this is coming out a month and a half later, but like because of some of the structure, I don't get to have as much flexibility to just kind of pop in, come home, give Mama a break. So those Sunday nights or a couple of weeknights where I get some of that time in just an hour or two, like that's important. That's quality time.
Yeah.
And it's a love language and it helps build. So,
but you also like the more I think about it, you also have to be cognizant about that mommies don't get that. Like mommy's prime time is brand new baby, right? Mm-hmm. Because brand new baby needs mommy 100%.
Yes.
Okay. So then baby gets a little older. Mommy and baby, they don't drift apart, but they don't need him as much. Daddy becomes kind of interesting, kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Later, but you don't want daddy to be all fun.
Yeah.
Because then mommy's not. Well, even if mommy is fun, mommy's not going to think that she's fun because dad comes in and he's this clown. He's like, hey, we're going to have a good time. We're swinging around. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, you got to think like, I got to let mommy have fun time too.
Yeah.
So much to think about. It's
a lot of, it's multifaceted, as you said earlier, multifaceted for sure. Man, I'm really thinking through that.
Yeah. Because imagine, think of your dad and your mom. Do you have one that you say was like the fun one and one was the disciplinarian? Are they the same? Do they flip flop? They
were pretty well. My parents got divorced when I was in middle school. So, and there's some.
Mine got divorced in high school, but I still remember that my mom. I remember as a young child, my mom being lots of fun, but then older, so my mom wasn't fun. But my dad was always like, he was a Navy guy, so he was always just like steady. Is the best way to say it. Steady.
So, sure. Yeah. So I have memories of both. I think they kind of were complementarian in that sense, where like they both could be disciplinarian. Like one of the things I've always been super grateful for. My dad had a little bit of Army in him, so I think some of that traveled, at least with me and my brother in our younger years pre-divorce. If a rule was set and a rule was broke, mom handed down her discipline and then was like, when your dad gets home, we're going to see if it needs to get taken further or however that needs to look. And so both of them were very good at discipline, but then also like I have memories like my mom is awesome. We have a lot of fun. Younger years when my dad was kind of in some healthy phases, he was also like we pulled pranks. My mom, we played Xbox together. He would let us watch M-rated video games while he played them when we were supposed to. And he'd be like, "Don't tell your mom," And he's playing like Splinter Cell, which then I look back and play it. I'm like, this was not that bad. Why was she freaking out? And then I have $1 million. I'm like, okay, I guess I could see why. Just be careful. But yeah. So it's like I do have. I guess for me, I at least was able to perceive enough of a balance until the divorce. Then unfortunately things just kind of.
Yeah,
divorce is a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. Yeah, it's a mess. And if you lived through one, it's something that you're like, ugh, I don't know. I don't want this to happen to my kid.
No, never. Absolutely not.
Fight that away with a big stick.
It's a taboo word that should never. And I know I'm guilty of bringing it out when it's not appropriate. Not in a serious sense. I'll tease it or I'll be stuck in, like I said, selfishness, be stuck in my own. So, hey, Dad Report listeners, here's some honest time with Justin. But it should be, and thankfully Megan's bold enough to be like, she's like, stop saying that word. We said no, don't use that word. So it's a taboo. We don't even bring it. It's not an option. It's just not.
Yeah, same for us.
Yeah. Yeah, notice what it did to our conversation, because it's scary.
Yeah,
it's scary, and if you've been through it, it's not cool.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I guess that's an oversimplification, but it is definitely something that makes you want to compromise and understand that, like, things got to be really bad.
Yeah,
because there's so much more you can achieve, especially with a kid. If you don't have a kid, whatever, it doesn't, you know what I mean, in my opinion. But once that kid shows up, you're on the job. You got something to do. You have responsibilities that cannot go away, and your ability to be flexible and make it work for the greater good is important. And also for your own good. If you can't learn to get along with somebody,
you
got a problem.
Marriage is about sacrifice. So
yeah. And cooperation, So yeah. Man.
Well, that was
just got real. It's got real quick.
Real. Oh my goodness. All right. So what is one of the favorite things? We'll try and jump out of that. So what is one of the favorite things you have? Like, what is it that Oliver might do? Like, is there like a laugh he has, or like a characteristic where you're just like, oh, that's awesome. Is he standing yet? Is he walking?
He's assisted standing right now.
Okay.
So he's not walking, but he'll get he'll get his little hands on something and he'll start standing up.
Yeah.
So one of my coworkers, she's got older kids, and we traded her old, I say old, but it's in good condition. It's one of these 6-sided playpens, but it's big. It's got to be like 4 feet across in all directions.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And we traded that for a running stroller that we weren't using. So we got the pin, and I took a bunch of every pillow and every soft toy I could find, and I threw it in there with every stuffed animal, and now we call it the Softagon. And we just throw him in there and let him he'll stand on the pillows, and he'll get up on the edge, and he'll walk around the edges. But if he falls down, nothing can hurt him.
Yeah.
You pick him up, I don't drop him in there, but you plop him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he's having a good time or he's interested in anything, he makes this little noise, this little grunt of satisfaction that I find adorable.
That's awesome.
Yeah, look what I got.
The noises, I'm having the most fun right now with Amelia. She's found, I would say she's found her voice. There's no words, and we don't have, nothing is legible in my opinion. You can kind of figure out some things if you listen carefully and notice, like she figured out how to point. So
that's cool.
Okay, so you need etc. Or she started like, she'll push things away when she doesn't want them, or she says no. So I don't know how much she's recognized, but we're at least picking up on like the cause and effect, where it's like, if she's done this, don't try to give her this again.
Yeah.
But she's got, we were doing the car, we're copying her noises back to her. So she's going like, oh, and we would be like, oh, and then I would do it in a whisper, be like, oh, and she goes, oh, and she'll like whisper back. So it's really fun to kind of watch her, like she'll match our intonations and whatnot. So it's a cool season, man. This whole 1-year-old thing it's neat.
So how are you guys doing, Justin, on the standing front?
So
standing, walking, the whole thing.
Like last week or a week and a half ago, I was laying down on the ground with her, and she used me to prop herself up, and then free stood, no couch, no, cabinet or anything like that. So just on her own 2 feet. She did it 3 times. Just used me to push herself up, and then she's not done it since. So, which classic. Yeah. That's how she was with crawling. That's how she was rolling over. She'd do it once, and then it was like, all right, give me, a month or so. And then she'll, once she I've got a feeling once she figures out to stand up, she'll be walking around like a crazy person.
Yeah,
But
that's another thing is how they all of a sudden they'll pick up something so fast that it's not a gradual learn. It's a learn and then do immediately.
Yeah.
Well, we noticed when we started putting her that she also needs to kind of see it, and not just from like adults, but see her peers, which I think that's can be its own podcast episode in itself, probably, is how important community is and peers. But anyway, we dropped her when we started taking her back to church. We started going back to church. We started putting her in the nursery, and we came home one day and she'd always done this kind of like army shuffle crawl and like on her stomach the whole time, and that was how she crawled.
Ollie does that. Yeah, we call it the swim.
Yeah. That's a good name for it. So we brought her back home, and all of a sudden she's crawling on elbows and knees and is getting good at it too. And we were like, where the heck did you learn this? And we figured out she's probably watching other babies crawling. And we're like, oh, okay. So that makes sense, hearing that like when you have a second or third kid, they pick up on things a little bit faster because they're watching older brother, older sister do those things a little bit ahead of them. So, but yeah, she's right now only crawling. She's perfectly content doing that. I love to kind of like make her crawl, where I'm like, she'll follow me into rooms and stuff, and then she'll kind of look at me like, pick me up. I'm like, no, you got 2 legs and 2 hands. You can crawl around. You can follow me. She's a blast. I mean, yeah,
we're a quadruped. Get around.
Yeah, exactly. She's fast too. I accidentally stepped on her today. I was in the fridge getting something, and I took a half step back and stepped on her hand. I didn't know what it was. Usually a cat gets like a cow get on her foot, or there's a toy, and she wasn't near me. She was like probably 6 feet away from me, and I never heard her move. And so all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know you were down there. Yeah. She's sneaky fast. So
yeah, they'll and it sounds like you guys are doing it the right way, but they'll do it when they're ready. Like Justin, I don't know if I've ever shared on here my story, but like, so Pierce, right? He, typical first child. He was like he was walking by like, I think it was just before like 8 months. And like,
oh my god,
walking and then running. Man. I mean, but I'll tell you, man, I'm surprised my mom didn't tell the story when she was on here, but like, dude, I didn't start walking till I was like almost 18 months old. And the reason I started walking is because we were at the beach, and the way my mom tells the story is I had an older brother and a bunch of adults around me and stuff, and they would just bring me what I needed, and I was cool just sitting around,
getting picked up
whatever, a little bit, but yeah, get picked up. But then, man, I was crawling around the beach getting sand in my mouth, which, so I just stood up and started going. I was ready. I had a reason to do it, so I went and did it. But it's like, I guess the point here is that kids, they'll do it when they're ready.
Yeah, they're getting ready
to. They'll go. So I remember when I saw them starting to work at it, being like, all right, let's do this. But then as soon as they do it, then you gotta be like, oh man, we got some more stuff to baby proof now.
Or that.
Oh man, what was I doing? No, go back to crawling.
Yeah.
We finally put cabinet locks on our kitchen cabinets, except for the cabinet where her plates and forks and stuff are. We let her take her stuff out.
Oh, well, she's a big girl then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she'll also help us put it back. She
really
will, when we pull the dishwasher, we'll pull the dishwasher out right when it's clean, and she will grab a plate out and she'll like hand it to me. And so she helped me unload some of the dishes today.
Oh, nice.
The only thing we do is make sure we get the knives out before she gets there. That way, we don't hurt ourselves. But yeah, she loves to give and to give things to people and take things and give them back. So I don't think teaching her how to share is going to be much of an issue, at least not right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Ollie's into dropping things. He's discovered gravity, so he'll do this little thing where we'll put him in the high chair and we'll put food on the tray. And for a while he was really good about just scooping it up, throwing it in his mouth, scooping it up, throwing it in his mouth. But now he'll like grab it and he'll stick his arm as far out as he can to the left or right, and then just kind of look at our face and just drop it and be like, there it goes, it's gone now.
Yep, we've done that. Actually, that's how we know Amelia's done eating, is she'll start off by doing scoop to the mouth. She still hasn't quite figured. It's funny. She'll grab food, but it like falls onto the bottom of her palm. And so by the time she gets it up here and lets go to put it in her mouth, it's a 50-50 shot of if it makes it or not. So
That's fine. That's how I eat popcorn at the movie theater. I'm the
there you
same
go.
way.
Yeah. So you miss it or you don't. But then when she's done, she's had enough. She'll look at Megan, because Megan sits next to her, and she'll look at her, grab her food, stick it right out, almost like an insult, like a screw you, I'm done.
Yeah.
And she'll throw it. She also has her toys. All her toys are picked up. And then she'll crawl over, stand up by pulling herself behind her little toy bin, and then she'll like look at us, make some noises, and drop her toys out one at a time. And we're like, oh, awesome. So
Yeah.
she also has attitude when she wants to have it.
Pick these up, peasants. I'm done with these.
Right? Yeah, she doesn't let me put her toys away, just the dishes. Kevin, I think we're getting there on time, my friend. This has been fun. This has been really cool.
Yeah. It was fun.
Thank you for coming on the show. Is there anything you'd like to share before we have one last question. I'm sorry. And actually, you alluded to it a little bit earlier, because we are the Dad Report. We talk about dads. You mentioned how having a son now makes you appreciate your dad more. So can you briefly talk about your relationship with your dad, whether while it was you were growing up or even now, as you have your own son?
Yeah. I love my daddy. My dad and I had it gets complicated when you start talking about your dad. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
My dad and I, when I was in adolescence, I had a lot of trouble, and I was in a lot of trouble. And bless his heart, he was just so patient. And you don't appreciate that when you're a kid. You're a jerk. And I got into a lot of trouble in college. I probably was a big pain in his ass. And but man, he was just always there. And I totally appreciate him. Now my dad is 80. So he's getting old, and it's tough for me because he's getting old. I can talk about him because he's never going to listen to this podcast. He doesn't even know what a podcast is or where to find them. But my dad he seemed to get older very quickly. And that kind of frightens me in a way, right? Because I don't want that to happen to myself. It will, I'm sure of it. But he's in great condition. He's in great health. But I always, just like I said, I want to be available for Ollie all the time. I also want to make him available, and he wants to be available. He wants to see that baby all the time.
Okay.
I want to facilitate that. I want my dad to see my son,
Yeah.
Cause I don't know, he's a good dude, and I didn't appreciate what a good dude he was and how much effort and time and patience and not giving up that he had for me. And he's a great guy. I love him. Love you, Daddy. I'm not going to hear that, but
maybe he'll find it on YouTube or.
Nah, I'll just send him. I'll take a snippet of it and send it to him.
There you go. That's awesome.
Well, but yeah, it's tough when you're a boy. Your relationship with your dad.
Yeah.
I do know guys who they talk to their dad every day, and it seems like they never got in an argument. I'm like, wow, that
must be impressive.
You're a nice guy.
Yeah.
I must be a jerk.
My dad and I still don't see eye to eye on. He's gone down the conspiracy rabbit train. So I've actually
mine too, but I love him like crazy.
Oh,
so
man.
I think you just get old, you start doing stuff.
I love him. Well, some of the way he's practicing, I don't know. And that's a conversation for total different.
That's a whole different kind of podcast.
That's
not a daddy podcast.
Yeah, no. So I have had to work it, unfortunately, some boundaries and whatnot for our family with him. But I get it. Yes, absolutely. Well, Chad, is there anything you'd like to throw in here before we blast out for the night?
I do not think so. Kevin, man, it was great. Great getting to know you.
Yes, thanks, guys. It was a lovely conversation. I like the chat.
Awesome. Well, thank you for saying yes to your wife, even though she told you had to.
I always do. That's what got us in this mess in the first place.
That's good. All right, Kevin. Well, we hope you have a great rest of your evening. You're now a friend of the show. And we love you here at the Dad Report, and maybe someday down the line we'll have you back on if you're cool with it.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. Well, on that note, everybody, have a great evening, and we out.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. You can support us by sharing the show with your friends and family. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
Want more of the Dad Report? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and even join the community over on Discord. Don't forget to send us your dad jokes for a chance to be featured on the show.
Remember the words of Billy Graham about fatherhood. A good father is one of the most unsung, unpraised, unnoticed, and yet one of the most valuable assets in our society.
So if you are a dad, we're cheering you on. If you have a dad, be kind to him. And if you know a dad, tell him about our podcast.